Genesis chapter 40, the prisoner's dreams. Joseph is in prison and he's kind of like a prophet. Verses 1 through 4. It came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their lord, king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief butler and the chief baker. So he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison, the place where Joseph was confined. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, so they were in custody for a while. Joseph has to take care of these two prisoners. We don't know if they were wrongly put in jail, if they were rightly put in jail, but we'll see. And Joseph gets to build a relationship and talk to them because he's in charge of taking care of them. Verses 5 through 8. Then the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt who were confined in the prison had a dream, both of them. Each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. And Joseph came into them to the morning, and looked at them, and saw that they were sad. So he asked the Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of his lord's house, saying, Why do you look so sad today? And they said to him, We each have a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. So Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me, please. They each have dreams that kind of more like visions, and they're scared because they're like, I don't know what this vision means. I know it means something important, but I just don't know what it is. Joseph says, Let me try to interpret it for you, because that dream is not just a dream, it's a vision from God. Verses 9 through 11. Then the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him, Behold, in my dream a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches. It was as through it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. Then Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. That was the butler's dream. And so Joseph explains it to him. Verses 12 and 13. And Joseph said to him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Now within 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former manner when you were his butler. That's good. Joseph is saying that was a good dream, a good vision. You're going to be restored back to where you were before. You're innocent and you shouldn't be in jail. You'll go back in 3 days. Verse 14. But remember me when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh and get me out of this house. Even though Joseph is successful, he doesn't want to be working at the jail. He wants to go back because he really shouldn't have been put in jail either. Verses 16 and 17. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, I also was in my dream, and there were 3 white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket on my head. That was the baker's dream. Notice how he didn't go until after the butler. It could be a sign that he knows he's guilty. He could have just been waiting because maybe he thought the butler was also guilty, but he got a good vision anyway. Verses 18 and 19. So Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days Pharaoh will lift off your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from you. In 3 days also he will get the punishment he deserves. The baker was in fact guilty and was placed in prison for a reason. Verses 20 through 23. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. Then he restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Everything came true. Joseph knew it all along, but it's pretty sad because Joseph didn't get to go out of jail. I think that the main message for this chapter is God will give you knowledge and understanding. Joseph acts as a prophet in this chapter because he's still living a holy life and he still has God to protect him. You can even see that in the theme of 3 days, because Jesus Christ rose in 3 days, and Jesus also claimed before he even died that he was going to rise in 3 days. Joseph claimed before any of these events happened that they would happen in 3 days. Another message is patience. Joseph really shouldn't be in jail, but he's expressing patience. Even though he did a good deed for a friend, sometimes you're not going to get rewarded for your good deeds. Just how it goes. You have to be patient and wait your turn. You also have to just live a good life in general, because though God will reward you for your good actions, He will also punish you for your bad actions if you don't repent. The baker was obviously an unholy man because the Lord had him killed and hung in a humiliating way. So I know this is the main message for every chapter basically, but just live a holy life. That's all I have. Thank you for watching.